What's up, Planet Unity? Azazel here, and this is Azazels Den. Coming to you live on April Fool's Day. Same day as a podcast, same day as Jesus Christ, I don't even know what else. We might have a Promised Neverland chapter, we might have, a few other things. But let's get right down to this. This is technically my third take. I'm not gonna bullshit. I had to move my mic for one take, and my camera, and I'm like, ugh, my hand was on the fucking over the lens for a few seconds. Scrap it. The first take was just a jumbled mess. So here we go. This week, I actually wanted to address a few issues that happened in the wonderful new IP for Microsoft and Rare called Sea of Thieves. Now, you might have heard, you might not have heard, that there were a few hiccups in Sea of Thieves during launch week and the following week. Issues that really shouldn't have happened after, 3 beta tests, an alpha test, closed alpha test, now mind you, to first test the servers, then I believe there was another alpha test, and then 2 or 3 closed betas, an open beta, and then an open beta stress test for the servers. Yeah, there's been more than enough time for them to fix that issue. I don't know if they had planned on having as many people online for the Game Pass and they didn't think that would actually push subscriptions or what. But when you announce a new IP is going to be behind that versus dropping $60 so people can test it, they're going to take the cheaper option, especially in this generation. But the first of the issues was obviously the servers, to the point where they actually locked achievements for some ungodly reason. Now, it's not been foretold if that was to fix server issues or there was a glitched achievement. We don't really know what that is yet. But the biggest issue was I believe it was 327 patch. That patch locked Game Pass members out of their copy of the game, to the point where there's articles floating all over the internet like Game Pass members are being shafted, by this fucking glitch. They obviously didn't mean to do this, but are we going to have this issue every time with these on-demand games, so to speak? Every time Microsoft has a game come out for this Game Pass service that they've announced, we're going to have to deal with this, the first patch, like, oh, we're locked out of our copies, we gotta wait till they drop another patch. Or are they going to do a little more testing before they release titles like State of Decay 2 or Crackdown 3? Time will tell if that's the case. But there's already been a lot of people dipping out of Sea of Thieves because of the lack of content, complaining. So that brings me to a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart. What makes a game? Now, if you've played any AA games like Transformers Devastation or Mutants in Manhattan, the latest Turtles game, both I believe were published by Platinum, you kind of see the difference in the tone. Like, okay, AA has about this much for the campaign, and then, couch co-op or whatever. Then AAA should have this much for the campaign, but usually only has about this much right now. Looking at you, Destiny. Now, you may or may not know I'm was a huge Destiny fan for Destiny 1, and my love for the series has kind of declined with Destiny 2 and its pile of lies. Pile of lies being promises from the developer, we're going to have all this great content, we're going to, listen to our player base. They're slowly learning to listen. But when you've had, certain customers, not just for your latest franchise, but customers for your previous franchise and your franchise before that, and you're not listening to your lifelong customers. Some of us have been with Bungie since Marathon. So it's kind of disheartening to see Activision sink its claws into Bungie with the Destiny franchise. I get it, you need to make your money back, you need to make X amount of money, to essentially buy your freedom I've dealt with that aspect from multiple game companies that I've had to fucking listen. Like, yeah, look, it's not us. I mean, look at, I believe it was Overkill. But anyway, I'm not entirely sure on that. But the Payday developers had that same issue, and then they sold their soul to microtransactions with Payday 2. I might be crediting the wrong studio there. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm not opposed to criticism there, but when Payday 2's developers brought their franchise back, they made shit free or cheap for everything, but the damage had already been done to the franchise, essentially, because people lost faith in it. Now they have this GTFO that was announced at the Game Awards that they're trying to push off as their new IP, and players are still a little bit skeptical about that. And I don't blame players. You know, are they really as honest as they seem to be, or do they really not care about the players and just put up a facade to try to buy people back for this new game they're developing? Time will tell if that's the case. But we've seen that shades of that with, you know, locking players out of their Bright Ingrams in Destiny 2. We've seen that, you know, Bungie doesn't like to be caught in their bullshit and called out on it. And then they pull back, but they add another layer of bullshit. Now, we don't know if this is Bungie themselves or if this is more Activision. We really don't. But that brings me to this, what makes a game. Because if I can get, you know, 4 hours of campaign to 6 hours of campaign out of a AA game, I should be able to get more than 8 hours out of, you know, a AAA game. You know, even if it's mostly an MMO light, like Destiny. And what is the campaign in Sea of Thieves, aside from holding up a map, guiding?
Arr, over there, mateys. That sunstone's over there. Arr.
Over and over and over and over again. I get pirates, you know, didn't have a great life. They did the same thing over and over again, expecting something different. Kind of like, you know, a Far Cry 3 antagonist speech. What is the definition of insanity? You know, but it shouldn't be that. There should be more than 3 or 4 various missions. And then the fact that I can be voted into the brig again and again and again, and my crewmates can just go out and grab loot. Fuck me over. There should be a way to essentially go solo, or even, I'm sure there is. I'm more than positive there is. But the fact that that is something that can be exploited is not a good mechanic. If a person continuously votes you into the brig, it's kind of broken gameplay. You should be able to do that once or twice, you know, but not over and over and over again for every mission. And you should be able to filter who you play with. Like, if this person's abusing that system, you should be able to not join their session again. Maybe that'll be a future feature, but I digress. That's one of the main complaints I've seen. I myself have played maybe 4 hours of it and got bored out of my goddamn mind. That should not be the case for something that is open world as this. I'm sure it would make a great Let's Play. I mean, Achievement Hunter's doing pretty well with their Let's Play series. But aside from being a Let's Player's wet dream, what is this game? There's no real campaign aside from go here, go here, go here, dig up treasure, fight 3 different skinned enemies, and a horribly rendered Kraken. So what does really make a game? To me, a game is something that has anywhere from 10 to 40 hours of fucking campaign, depending on what that game's purpose is. Like, for example, I don't expect a long, lengthy campaign from generic shooter 77. That be your fucking Call of Duty, that be your fucking Battlefield, your Battlefront, whatever shooter you want to put in that category. I don't expect a lengthy campaign from that. I really don't. But what I do expect for that campaign, that short campaign game, that shooter, to have two things in addition to that. If it's a single player game, and a single player game only, I expect 40 hours or more from a game. That should be standard at this point. Take examples from the infamously reskinned and put onto every fucking system Skyrim, or games like The Witcher. Those games you can easily sink 100 plus hours into and still not scratch the surface of it. I mean, even Fallout 4 with another settlement needs your help. I want to shoot you in your face, Preston Gravy. But even as fucking annoying as that is, those settlement missions provided infinite hours of fucking gameplay. But let's be realistic. We all got tired of hearing, another settlement needs your help. Another settlement needs your help. We all put him in our torture devices from the fucking warehouse DLC. Let's not even bullshit that. Every Vault-Tec, every whatever workshop DLC that Bethesda shit out, we put Preston in another torture device. But back to the multiplayer focus games with a short campaign, the shooters. If we have a 10 or under hour campaign, I expect two massive things. One, a very, very good multiplayer mode. That multiplayer mode better have, like team deathmatch, capture the flag, domination, whatever you want to name these modes. I mean, for Halo, it'd be Slayer, Team Slayer, blah, 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 blah. Shit like that, I expect at this point for a more multiplayer-focused game. What I also expect, and bear with me now, because let's face it, we're in this era of gaming. I expect cosmetics at this point. I know, viewer, you probably got your pitchfork and your torch right now. Hear me out. Cosmetics really don't affect anything if you don't want to purchase them. They really don't. What they do help is develop the next title in the franchise. That's why Activision uses them. That's why EA uses them. And please, EA, if you're gonna do it, don't hire a moron to go on Reddit and say stupid shit. If you're gonna do it right. But I expect like skins for my character or my weapon or whatever. What I don't expect is EA's method of game breaking bullshit. Oh, you gotta play 40 hours to unlock this character, or you pay us X dollars to unlock that character. That character there can fucking tilt the battlefield and do this move and do this. No. What I also don't expect at this point in the game is Team Ninja's bullshit. Let's be realistic here. If you look at any online market for fucking gaming, be it PSN, you'll see, just trust me, go to Dead or Alive 5, Last Rounds, storefront page, right? Go there. You'll see row upon row upon row upon row of DLC. All of those DLCs you can buy under catalog season, blah, 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 blah. That catalog season there, I've seen some for, I think it was like 75. I've seen one for 90. No. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You should not be charging that for fucking bundles of skins. Especially when you are required to download a specific skin pack. Like, okay, say I want to play with somebody that has Volume 5s. I gotta download this compatibility pack. Compatibility pack shouldn't be a fucking thing at this day and age. That should be patched in. Fuck you. Anyway, moving on. Other features I expect at this point is decent. Decent is a very, very subjective word. I expect a decent fucking story. I don't expect the generic protagonist goes to the generic village to save the generic fucking villagers from this curse. I don't. No. Just no. I expect, overarching stories that if you do a DLC, it weaves into that somehow. Kind of like Skyrim, kind of like fucking Witcher 3, shit like that. I expect at this point if you're going to be a single player game. If you're going to be a multiplayer game, I expect map packs. I expect at least 4 throughout the year before you shit out the next title. Call of Duty's really nailed that formula down. Really great. But if you want to do standalone DLC, Fallout 4's Far Harbor, that really serves no purpose in the main story or does anything make it compelling. Because that shit was actually compelling. It felt like a natural environment in Fallout's universe. It didn't feel like they shit it out just to make another $14, $15 if you didn't buy the season pass. Which I also expect at this point in this fucking generation of gaming. I'm not even going to fight it anymore. Instead of dropping $60 on a game, now I'm dropping $100. It gets a little tiresome, but at the same time I understand why. And that'll be dove into, Jesus Christ, it's fucking 15 to 4 a.m. Cut me some slack here. I expect to dive into that scenario a little more in the gaming video. What made me come to terms with season passes. So stay tuned to that. We've got 2 phases of the gaming eras done, footage-wise. We still got 2 more to go. Essentially, we'll be going through everything from the arcade to modern era, the games as a service, which is what we're in now, whether we like it or not. Our thoughts on that, all sorts of goodies. But it's going to be about an hour-long discussion video, give or take, depending on how much footage Noble has to still upload to the Google Drive and me download and stitch into Adobe and do all sorts of editing. But what I also expect for a game at this point, and this is where I'd probably lose 90% of the audience. I expect microtransactions. Now, why do I say I expect microtransactions? Well, microtransactions take many, many, many forms. Like I said, I expected cosmetics. What I mean by I expect microtransactions is... Now, this is where you either click off the video, probably give me a dislike. But what I expect from microtransactions at this point, in addition to the cosmetics, is if this game is like Destiny, I expect some sort of a currency to buy certain emotes. I expect to be able to buy certain specialty weapons or even some sort of loot box, essentially. Now, why do I expect this in those particular types of games? Because those games are more games as a service in addition to being a game that is a yearly release. Yearly release doesn't necessarily need to have those types of microtransactions, but one that's a games as a service really does. When there is a game as a service, they're expecting to make this game last multiple years, similar to an MMO. Look at GTA Online and GTA 5 by that method. It's in what, year 5? It's survived on shark cards. What do shark cards do? They allow Rockstar Studios to produce more DLC, more heists, more weapons, more guns, more ships, more whatever fucking bullshit that they shit out every, quarter at this point, right? The more shark cards you buy, the more content they can release. And by that, they can sink more money into the production of the eventual Grand Theft Auto 6. If we're being realistic here, a lot of that money will be probably utilized on fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2's DLC and microtransactions, because they've already said it's going to be more games as a service, will be sunk into the next fucking Grand Theft Auto game, or maybe a Bully 2, or a Manhunt 3, or whatever is their next game. Look at Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege has survived off of renown in the fucking market and all the yearly passes for operators, because people enjoy that slight addiction to clicking. Like, oh, I can get that. If I get 600 renown, I can get that scope, and that scope will help me improve my aim. And instead of me grinding for 20 more minutes, I can just click this button. I'm overdrawn. Fuck. Now, I'm not against microtransactions. I'm in the middle ground here, but you gotta admit there is always that enticing moment of wanting to click the easy way out. I've done it. You've probably done it. That's how these games survive. Now look at Destiny 1. It survived 3 years. It's still kicking, technically. A little bit better than Destiny 2, but that's not me humble bragging, but it kind of is. It's still succeeding, technically, where Destiny 2 has failed, because Destiny 2 abused that by locking that Bright Ingram and forcing people to go to Eververse. That caused a major drop-off in players, and a lot of those players either went to Monster Hunter World, or they went back to Destiny 1, or they went to Warframe, or they went here, or they went there, or they went here, or wherever they went, they're not in fucking Destiny 2 anymore. I know one of our buddies from when we did our little collaboration with SGP and he jumped ship Dragon, he's playing the fucking Division right now. He jumped from Destiny 2 to the Division. He still plays Destiny 2 for trials, but other than that, he's playing the Division. A game I thought died long ago. So yeah, there's that. What I don't expect from a game at this point. Yeah. What I don't expect from a game at this point is another successful campaign of a title like this. What do I mean by that? We already know that No Man's Sky is going to Xbox One. So what can I possibly mean by another successful campaign like that? What I mean by that, to you viewers, aside from this title being a monument to my sins, a la Halo Reach style, as I don't expect people to buy into every single Kickstarter bullshit at this point. I expect people to be realize that there are some developers that take that money and they run. They take that money and they bullshit their customers. They take that money and they lie. Why would people do that? Why would they lie to the... Simple. You can promise the world and people will buy into it. If you can make anything enticing, I can make that fucking Alpha 5 figure back here enticing if I wanted to. And I could sell it to you. If you have a good line of shit, you're successful in anything. I can bullshit my way through a PowerPoint in college and have done none of the work until the night before that presentation. Just like these motherfuckers bullshitted their way through an entire sales campaign and got every single person hyped for a steaming pile of dog shit. Just like Bungie successfully hyped up Destiny players and gave us Destiny Year 1.5 as Destiny 2. Because for everything they did right, they took a million steps back. And any Destiny player can agree with me there. They're starting to make things right, but they're not quite there yet to the player base. The player base is under 350,000 and was at almost, I believe, 10 million at launch. If that doesn't tell you that lack of content in a game causes players to abandon ship, I don't know what does. Now, why do I keep bringing up Destiny, aside from having a major bone to pick? It's because I really believe that what makes a game ties into what today's market really is. Look at some of the most popular games on Steam. Look at some of the most popular games that are being streamed on Twitch. We have really, really shallow content games rotating in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out quite frequently. Right now, we see PUBG and Fortnite as top games. But those games really don't have a lot of lasting content. PUBG has, what, 3 maps? 2 maps and 1 promised? Fortnite Battle Royale has, what, 1? Yet, they're still there. Why are they there? Well, I actually have a little bit of a hypothesis. People like a quick fix. That's why Call of Duty is so successful. When you think of it, at its core, Call of Duty has no meat to it. It really doesn't. It's just a few maps at launch. You pick a kit, and you go shoot shit. Yet it's successful. Fortnite's really no different. PUBG's really no different. You go around, you pick up guns. In Fortnite, you build shit. In PUBG, you can drive around. And you shoot shit. Battlefield. Big team battles. It's the same gameplay, really, as Call of Duty. You can play a few matches and leave. People really, really don't have a lot of attention span. And that's why it factors into every aspect of life, really. Go and view any YouTube video. If you don't like what you see in the first few seconds, you more than likely click off. So I try to make the first few seconds interesting of every Azazels Den, so you don't click off. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. I know my viewer time for these, it's not the greatest, but people view them anyway. And those that stick around to the very end of the video, I fucking love you guys. Or you gals, or whatever you identify as. I don't judge. But thank you for viewing these videos all the way to the end if you do. Because it really means a lot to us. Now, I can sit in class and be bored out of my fucking mind. Or I could sit here in front of this webcam and talk to you. I'd rather take the latter. So starting the end of April, I'm taking the semester off. Now what does that mean for you, the viewers? That means there'll be more content coming out quite frequently. Shit that's been pushed off because of my class projects will be pushed up now. I'll have more time to do it. I'm not going to be sitting scrambling like a goddamn deer in the headlights trying to fucking shit out 3 class projects for 3 months. I'm going to have more free time. But also during that free time, I'm going to be job hunting. Because if you view any of our content that hasn't been hit by the bot, you realize we don't monetize our videos because we can't. We can't monetize our videos because we use manga scans, we use, you know, various fucking other things, including my filthy mouth that doesn't help matters, and Red's filthy mouth, and everybody that contributes to this channel's got a sailor's mouth. So, while I'll have more free time, I technically will have the same amount of free time once I hit that job. So, for a while, there'll be more content. Then that might slow down a bit. But, fret not. That means better equipment will be bought. This shitty webcam that I'm using right now will be upgraded. The mic I'm using right now is on its last legs from going across country. I'll be upgraded. This monitor that I'm using as my second monitor will probably be pitched out to some fucking warehouse where it can be destroyed, or I might just kick it in a video. I don't know yet. Kind of like I did the desk. I might take a ball bat to it, Office Space style. Had it for almost 4 years at this point, since before I moved to this shitty apartment. So it's been through a lot. I replaced, it used to be my TV, I replaced that with a fucking 4K TV come tax time. So yeah, that TV you see there in the corner. But what I'm really hope to do during this 3 months of bliss that I won't be hugging the bottom of a bottle, trying to fucking basically survive these 3 classes that I'm in, will be entertaining you guys with the new content, including the gaming project that I don't have a name for yet. That's why I'm just referring to it as gaming project. Saturday morning reviews will be coming out by then, hopefully, if I can get Thurman off his fucking thumbs. And by that time, hopefully Chris will have his laptop. That's been rectified, hopefully, by now. That is an entirely different fucking story that I'll save for another video, because I'm already approaching the 35-minute mark on this, and I try to keep these around that amount of time. But that'll be a funny story for another Azazels Den, possibly, or maybe during the podcast where he'll potentially roast me once he gets it. Looking forward to that. So you can have his content, him appearing on the Promised Neverland discussions, which hopefully by the end of the day we'll have that. If not, we'll have it up by Monday, as usual. We release the manga reviews as they come out. There's no video to stitch at the end of this one, because you already know what's going on with the Black Clover. We don't have anybody joining us. So hopefully, by the time those 3 months of bliss come, we'll have a lot more shit coming out. That's the goal. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Planet Unity. Peace.